Valorant room. Here's our practice, you know, where all the magic happens. No windows, the dungeon. And yeah, we're about to begin for the day.
Feeling good about the match tomorrow. From what I saw in their last game, I think that we have a good chance at winning, and honestly I think we're prepared better, so I'm expecting a win.
Enjoy the sunshine and this brief look at the São Paulo cityscape because we're heading back inside for lock-in day 4. The biggest VCT event ever continues from the Ginásio do Ibirapuera with 2 more crucial alpha bracket matchups. Of course, I'm Golden Boy, and joining me here at the desk to break it all down, we have Mimi and Achilleos. I'm good. It feels good to be back, Mimi. You know, we had a 1-day break, but it's nice to be here, and we got some more games to roll through today.
Yeah, I'm excited for the games today. Those scenics outside are actually the most I've seen outside in the last week. I've been very focused on just living in this venue. So
yes,
yeah.
Lock-in was very aptly named. You know, as it turns out, we're all just strapped in, we're ready, and it's nothing but work focus here.
That's right. I'm gonna have those white walls in my dreams forever. All right. Well, on Wednesday we saw our final 3 opening matches, and of course this place was electric. First, we had Team Heretics taking on NA's Evil Geniuses, and you know, I think it's safe to say, Mimi, for this particular game, a lot of people were unsure. What were we going to get from Evil Geniuses? We're kind of getting trolled a bit in our region, and I'm glad to see that team showed up with interesting strats, unique compositions, and most importantly, they picked up a crucial dub.
Yeah, interesting strats is kind of exactly that. They start off with this kind of Yoru Jet, like, cool gimmick comp that they're playing on Pearl, and even though it started with Kellogg's absolutely farming, with some great calls from Lucio making his debut as an IGL on the international stage, they managed to come back and then showed some solid stuff on Ascent too.
Yeah, I mean, that second half of Pearl was just so very one-sided. It was just complete and utter control from the side of EG. They did not let Kellogg's really find his footing as he swapped over onto that attacking side. It was really great stuff. And also, I want to give a special shout out to Potter, who not only guided this team across the finish line, let the players figure out how to correct the ship when they were struggling in that Ascent map, but also then went over and did an interview on the Korean stream in Korean, which is not something that a lot of people have gotten to see. So I'd say go check it out, because honestly, it holds up really well.
Yeah, funny thing, you know, talking to some of the players and stuff, and it was just the trust that Potter had in them to correct those mistakes, and to do so in such a manner on a stage like that, very impressive stuff. But speaking of impressive, we had the hometown crowd stunned because a Brazilian squad was sent home here in São Paulo, courtesy of Talon. Yeah, that's right, your eyes do not deceive you. Everyone had Talon basically kind of keeling over to MIBR, and here we are, the world where MIBR is not making it in the rest of this tournament set.
I mean, it was a conversation of, we've seen from this core before when they were on Xerxia, when they're on X10, that they can pull off upset results, but can they do it in front of the hometown crowd? And they shocked all of us. Cruz in particular, this first map went absolutely crazy with his omen play. His rifling was so on point. The guy was top fragging at the end of the lobby, but those rookie players that had not had any international experience, that were being basically booed and shunned out of the arena by the local fans, also were able to perform. We saw fantastic plays from Jit Boys and Garnets the whole way throughout.
Yeah, and the team coordination was fantastic too. It felt like this was kind of a last-minute thing, getting these new players into the mix, but they looked so incredibly well-rehearsed. Every time MIBR gave them a gap, they were exploiting it. I was very impressed with Talon.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what Talon does, you know, moving forward in this competition. But for now, though, you know, the Brazilian fans can breathe a collective sigh of relief, because we had Loud, our returning champs, take the stage, and safe to say they blew the roof off of this joint with some incredible plays. And in what was truly, Achilleos, a nail-biter series. You look at the 2-0, but it's one of those instances where it wasn't a real 2-0. This wasn't a dominating 2-0. Gen.G made it very difficult for them.
Look, we were all robbed by not having this game go all the way to 3. It was so close, especially in that second map. There were some fantastic moments from Gen.G that I've talked about it. I can't really walk away from this and be upset because Gen.G looks so much stronger than I could have anticipated coming into this event. For a lot of these players never having gotten international experience in Valorant, they looked very well at home on that stage in front of the crowd that was entirely cheering for Loud, and they gave us one hell of a performance.
Yeah, and as well for Loud, we didn't know what to think about these new players coming in, but Kawazin, his first ever match on a big stage with an insane amount of pressure on him, being on that reigning championship squad with all these fans cheering, and he performed absolutely fantastically.
Yeah, and even for myself, I had thought, okay, if there is a condition that Loud loses, it would potentially have been because the younger players coming in this very tense environment. No. They
It was the
stepped
inverse.
up. It was the inverse of it, which is wild to think about. But that just makes me excited for Gen.G going into the Pacific League. It makes me very excited to see what else Loud can cook up here at the rest of Lock-In. But this week, the Alpha Bracket, we lost half of the field in our single elimination matches, which means we are down to 8 teams. And Mimi, what an 8 teams. Like, honestly, I feel like everyone's bracket has been nuked at this point. If you have 100% correct bracket, play the lottery right now.
Yeah, go for it. We had some interesting results in the first round, but these round 2 matchups are going to be insane. You get Cloud9 versus DRX already. You get a Carmen Core that's surprised versus Loud. Every one of these games is going to be so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, no matter which way you cut it, I don't think you can say that there's a bad matchup here across the board. I mean, even today, just being able to dive into these, having NRG going up against Giants, and then seeing Carmine Corp, seeing if they can clean things up a little bit more, because it was a very messy and all over the place series for them versus FPX. From what we've seen on Loud now, Carmine Corp, all eyes are on them to see if they can level up their performance, because it's going to be a tough one for them against Loud.
Yeah, and also I think it's safe to say too that there's a very clear, well, at least for a lot of the fans at home, you come into this event and you don't really know what necessarily to expect, right?
Sure.
There's been so many unique strategies, so many different theories on how the game should be played, and if anything, it has definitely led us to some very exciting Valorant. But here's the thing, guys, from Viper on Haven to Phoenix on Pearl, we have seen some teams here at Lock-In cook up some surprising dishes. Some of those have been delicious to watch. Others didn't quite hit the spot. So to showcase some of those menus, we have a new segment that we're going to be doing here today, and it's called What Were They Cooking? Joining us today to speak about one team's interesting new menu item, we have a special celebrity guest chef. You may have seen her on MasterChef Junior, Hell's Kitchen Junior, The Taste Junior. It's, of course, Mimi, who has some amazing dishes from Carmine Corp. Hello, Chef Mimi. How are you doing today?
Bonjour, and merci beaucoup for having me on the show. I am so incredibly excited to show you folks what Carmine Corp has been cooking up. We have a very unique menu that I'm very, very excited to present.
I'm excited to see. What is on today's menu? What are the specials?
Well, it's very special here at Carmine Corp. We offer a menu, a complément sans du liste. There's going to be only supportive agents, only the finest agents that you have, and it offers a more refined experience.
Can I make substitutions at all?
No, absolutely not. It is a perfect menu as it is, and I do not expect you to be able to change it to be the better. To introduce this to you, we have an appetizer, as you can see on your menu. It is a charcuterie plate of stall. On a bed of Lotus, you get a beautiful flavor of controllers and initiators, and a little hint of an opping omen for a kick at the end. And for the entree, we'll be serving Harbor Omen Surf and Turf, which is just a delicious contrast of controllers over on Pearl.
Okay.
All right.
I wasn't prepared for this,
Neither
but
was I.
I'm assuming we have some examples as well of the dish in action, and also your hat is incredible.
I earned this. Well, let's take a look at the first dish here. This will be our appetizer. You can see that this composition, what it excels at is stall. Any good dish is one that you chew, you savor on. It takes some time, and that's exactly what we see here. For KC, not only is it that stall, but it's also the information, the initiation, that flash of brilliance brilliance. And look at this, FPX try to exact, but the utility fantastic to stall them out and shut them down. You absolutely do not need a duelist on a map like this.
Oh, all right.
All right. You know, I'd say that this is a little foreign to my palate, but I'm not adverse to it. I can see where it's going.
Yeah, I would prefer to have a duelist in this situation. All right, why don't we talk about the next dish then?
But that's exactly it. Without the duelist, that is how you get the purest food, the most delicious meal. But that's just a little sample. Let's get to the main event. Let's get to the main dish here, the Harbor Omen Surf and Turf. My people have been working very, very hard to cook this one up. And you can see here, another no duelist comp, this time on Pearl. And this round starts out beautifully. Defaulting, you're re-clearing space, you punish your player. It's great work. And now you can see the fantastic way that this dish can pivot flavors in the middle of round. It starts one way, and by the end it is looking a completely different one. And as well as that, it gives you kind of these, the faux pas. It starts with one flavor, and it changes over to another one, switches in the middle there.
I'm noticing that.
Yeah, I guess.
It doesn't feel like as smooth of a ride as I was kind of hoping.
But look at
got a
this
very
beautiful
earthy taste.
last second execute. They made the perfect call here, and it's just going to be fantastic. You see that's obviously supposed to happen. You see that, you know, even the finest dish, even if you don't enjoy it to the end, it can still be delicious, even if you make that mistake.
Yeah, okay.
For me, I feel like this one might be a little too overdone.
Could be.
I like mine a little bit more rare, maybe a little less
that's the thing,
undercooked, and this would have been
To
good.
experiment with something new, you have to take risk. You have to try something different.
Look, I like my cooking simple, okay? This is how we do it, all right? Puerto Ricans, what we do is we take the sazon, the oil, the tomato sauce, the olives, we throw everything in there, we mix it all up. We like to keep the cooking simple here, Chef Mimi.
You do not have respect for the cuisine. You can see the mistakes, but you should still appreciate the delicious core of the dish.
I'll be honest, you kind of had me with the appetizer.
No. My assistant worked so hard on that one. I cannot believe.
I'll skip out on the entree. I like the appetizer. I think it could use a little bit more refinement, but instead of the entree, I think I'm going to go hang out with Giants and have some Burger King instead.
Oh, no, that is not acceptable.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, someone's got to go and find Chef Mimi's hat. Chef Mimi, we thank you so much for joining us here today.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay, all throughout the tournament, though, make sure you use the hashtags VCT LOCK-in and hashtag VCT. And we, of course, can feature your tweets here on the broadcast about cooking. So why don't you tell us what's your favorite Valorant dish to cook up? And while you're out there tweeting, why not answer today's poll? Use your phone, scan the QR code, and it's a very simple question. Do you smell what the Chef Mimi is cooking? Vote yes or no, or I'm hungry? Scan the QR code.
You will not be hungry after this dish. Very good.
You'll be nauseous.
No.
It's a hard commit to the bit. All right, guys, we need to take a quick break, and our breakdown of NRG versus Giants is coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere, hopefully. Welcome back to Lock-In, everyone. We're starting off day 4 with one heck of a slobber knocker of a matchup. It's going to be NRG taking on Giants Gaming. And actually, first, let's talk about NRG. Obviously, this team comes into it, Seth, with obviously a lot of praise. Everyone knows what to expect from this core of the lineup, right, that we have come to know and love of Crashies, Victor, and FNS. But I think when we saw them take that stage, we saw some layers here with Sam and Artis that really adds to this team's chemistry.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about, how do you replace Ye, Artis being such a close plug-in to try to have that, that replace that best player in the world. But honestly, Artis didn't have to do too much. He still had a strong performance, but everybody across the board in particular looked really good for the side of NRG. But Sam, especially in that first map of Icebox, absolutely clapped. Finished out that first map, 24-13, dropping like a 295 ACS. It was a huge performance from this guy, and we have continued to see just great debuts from these rookie players on the international stage, not just from NRG, but across the board. And Sam is especially a big example of that.
Yeah, je pense que ça c'est
Here we go. No.
très bien.
We can't do this right
sorry.
now. But
Sorry.
I don't understand
Sorry
French.
about that.
I'm already struggling
but yeah,
to learn
they had a
Portuguese.
fantastic debut for two brand new players into this roster. And I think what was really impressive about that game as well was just the calling from Finesse and the way they managed to come back into that one.
Yeah, and I think that just goes to show like the optic resiliency still very much there. But we actually had an opportunity to sit down though with Sam after the Koi match and learn what happened behind the scenes when the odds were stacked against NRG. Check it out.
Finally playing together on stage and at an international level feels very good. So this was my first international LAN, or even LAN in Valorant. There was people doubting me, there were people supporting me, but I think I proved my worth, at least for the opening match, and hopefully to do so in the future as well. So we were down 7-1, I'm pretty sure on Icebox, and FNS mentions to all of us, and he goes, "Get me 3 to 4 rounds, and I will win you this map on T-side." And after that, the momentum started. Optic last year would lose a lot of their opening matches, so I think getting this opening match finally got some momentum even faster than last year for them.
Some though yet to be cleared fully from this. Res comes in, gonna get a pun. It's huge from Storm, holding it down.
Yeah, so I haven't really watched Giants that much. We'll definitely watch it back as a team and individually, kind of just see how they play and just all that. I think for me, individually, mentally, just keep going at it, keep doing what I've been doing even before this match. But yeah, ultimately our end goal is to go all the way, grand finals, win it, but one match at a time for now.
That is a degree of confidence that I simply do not possess with that what FNS said, and I respect that. That just goes to show just like the confidence he has in his team, but also in himself to be able to make those calls, Mimi.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because that game started super rough. They were down big time, and like he said in that interview, after FNS made that call, "Get me a few rounds, we'll come back into this." That's exactly what happened. We can take a look at some of the footage from that comeback, but once we switched over to the attacking side for NRG, the calling was absolute perfection out of FNS, and this frag from Sam, this clip from him was absolutely the catalyst for that. It seems like FNS, besides just having great calling, is doing a great job at enabling this new player.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to kind of end that lackluster first half, being able to barely pick up that third round. Sam gets that unofficial ace in the end, and then from there, NRG just absolutely started steamrolling their way through this one, just running it back in such an impressive fashion. Koi just really could do nothing to stop them. Sam was consistently getting these forward lurks every time they had a plan on the B side, coming away with multiple kills, not even going for a one-on-one trade. He was always trading up, and that was such a big reason why Koi just could not get these site retakes.
I was especially impressed with their post plants in general, the way that they would kind of use utility early and then sacrifice those players that had already used their utility. You saw Sam doing it there at the very end. Really was tough for their opponent to shut down. But yeah, I mean, Sam, talk about international debuts. This guy has had one of the absolute best.
That he has. And right alongside him, something that we haven't been talking about, but we did talk about a ton on that day of that matchup, was also Crashies, one of the veteran players from the Optic Core, right there alongside Sam, having probably the best performance across both maps.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead, though, and move on to NRG's opponents, which, of course, is going to be Giants Gaming. Now, you know, this is a strong international squad, and they had quite the debut against Detonation, but Achilleos, I think, you know, and I don't want to disparage anything, but Detonation, I don't think gave Giants the test that we were hoping to see out of Detonation, and this is going to be the true test here for Giants.
No, and I fully agree. Even though they are one of my Pacific teams, I was expecting Giants to be able to come into this. They've got a lot more well-known names across this team, a lot of experience, whereas for the side of Detonation, there's a lot of people who just haven't had that international stage experience. So I do have faith for Detonation to be able to improve as we go throughout the Pacific season, but it didn't feel like Giants were tested. We did see that they still have great fundamentals. The team communication was looking absolutely stellar from them, but this is going to be the first real test for them here versus NRG.
Yeah. Still, I think that's exactly it. Even though it was a game that they pretty handily won, that was very dominant. They only lost, I think, 11 rounds across 2 different maps.
Yep.
They never got disrespectful. They weren't over-pushing. This team stayed very disciplined and kept calling good ideas. There was, I think in general, just a solid style from Giants. It's very EMEA. It's very focused on just like playing the meta comps and playing them very well.
Well, and I think to that point though, Mimi, in a format like this, that goes a long way. Being able to just have consistency with your compositions, with your play styles, not going too far outside of the box.
I mean, look at this round. They're up 10-4, yet they're still throwing out some really well put together executes here. They have a combo with the stun, the Astropole, and Molly back sight. They take front sight, then dart out to fight back sight together. It's just really well put together. They're well set up to trade each other through for a pretty new team. I thought the coordination was good, and they weren't super tested. I still think we learned that this team is solid, that they can put up numbers, I think, against a better opponent like NRG.
There were so many rounds, so many moments throughout these 2 maps where it felt like Giants could have just overheated because they could have been feeling so overconfident because they were winning quite handily.
Sure.
But the fact, as Mimi was pointing out, that they did remain disciplined, they stuck to their game plans, they didn't go crazy and just say like, all right, whatever, let's just mix it up and do something wild. No, they played it tight to the chest, and they ended up coming away with a very convincing win.
And one of the players that had contributed quite a bit to that win and popped off was Cloud. I mean, this guy put numbers on top of numbers, Mimi. He was genuinely disgusting that whole series.
Yeah, we've been waiting a while for this guy to come out and play his first international event, and he did not disappoint. Played that initiator, the Sova, all the way through, and not only was he fragging so incredibly well, but his utility was fantastic. He did a great job of helping set up his teammates. It felt like the big stage was no worries for him.
Yeah, I mean, worth noting that those were aggregated stats from the 2 maps that they played. If you zoom in on his Haven performance, he was 26-9-1 and dropped the 372 as the Sova player. It was an incredible debut from him, and this is what we're talking about with Sam. These players who just don't have this international experience continue to surprise us at every twist and turn with the performances that they're able to put up.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Leo when we saw him debut back with Guild, of just being that young fragger, but also just having such good utility and clearly being so intentional about every move they make.
Yeah, and if they continue to play like that, NRG, watch out. It's going to be a rough day today, potentially. But look, we're not the only ones that were gushing about Cloud, by the way. Like, literally everyone online was talking about how great this player is. One in particular is a familiar face you might know, is Minnie, the coach for Fnatic, because Minnie also was raving about him as well. There were just so many great things to talk about with Cloud.
Yeah, I think people in EMEA have known that this guy is up and coming for quite a while and has been ready to see him on that international stage. But for the rest of the world, I think seeing him come out and play this well, it was a bit of a surprise. So I'm glad to see him getting the attention he deserved. And same with Sam. I think we probably have the 2 best debut players head-to-head in this matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting to check out here. But let's go ahead and hear from another member of Giants. Here's Hoodie with his thoughts about his team's debut.
I think overall our game plan was just better because basically we knew what to expect and we were just prepared. As a Sentinel player, I'm just more focusing on my crosshair because I have a simple job to do, hold my side, and I mean it's easier than most roles. Ram has been a big part, he knows what to call, he knows how the enemy will react, and so far he's been doing really great. I think overall he's just his character as a person.
Oh, it's nasty being tucked up on the wall, but they're checking it. Shot landed, but no kill. Caps are going to be, he's making a play through. The spam is good, but it's an instant trade.
Down A.
I haven't played RDs when he was a Jet player, so I don't really have experience him as a Jet. But To be honest, I don't know. I'm not really expecting anything. I don't think we have to focus on anything particular. We just focus on our game, do our jobs, and I think we'll win. Don't pick us dry. Good luck, artists. Have fun.
It's actually a really fun dynamic here with artists being a EMEA player having come to NA, and everyone's just like, oh, well, if we got to take you down, we got to take you down.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool to see that head-to-head. Also, for Rhyme, the IGL of Giants, he was talked about in that interview. That was his first big match. He looked really good in it, and now he's going to be playing against like one of the absolute goats of calling in Finesse. So I think this is going to just be a fantastic matchup of just the minds on these two IGLs.
Yeah, it's a battle of the brains, and it's going to be really fun to check all that out, though. But we're going to take a quick pause for the pause, and our first match is going to be kicking off in just a few minutes. So we're going to wrap up and make sure you take care of whatever you got to do, and then we'll see you guys in just a little bit. Welcome back, one and all. Earlier, we put a poll question out there on Twitter, and we asked you guys a very simple one. Do you smell what the Mimi is cooking? And the results are in, and you said that you're hungry. Okay, well,
I agree.
I don't know what I had expected.
I don't know what we've learned from this poll. This poll.
This poll?
Yeah.
I don't know either. What we learned is that our audience clearly is malnourished and might need some Chef Mimi dish recommendations. Maybe you go on Twitter and give someone some ingredients.
Yeah, some of these teams have had some unique stuff. I think Cloud9's a good team to try out. K-Core, that whatever FPX is cooking has got to be crazy. So you guys should get in on that.
All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about predictions for our first match here, because we do have our prediction leaderboard. But first, let's see what everyone goes for today. How about that?
Okay.
Start with this. Okay. Mimi?
One at a time, all at once.
Let's do it all at once.
All at
once. All right. 3, 2, 1, and Blammo.
Okay.
Oh, man.
I hate universal predictions.
We are really all NA-pilled.
I'm so sorry. I swear it's not an NA thing. It's just, the logic. It makes sense. It's NRG. It's very hard to go against them.
I mean, look, I will be all aboard the Giants train if they can win this one. I will go have a Whopper this evening for my dinner. Whatever I have to do, I'll do it. But I'm just not sure yet. They didn't get tested enough. So I need to see some more from them. If they can take down NRG, then I'm all aboard.
Yeah. I'm curious to see where the prediction leaderboard is. I don't know if we have that, just because I want to know who's doing well. Okay.
I'm doing well.
Oh, wow. I'm doing better than you, and I'm doing better than our audience.
I'm with Twitter.
I'm a gosh darn genius.
I think the only one I got wrong was MIBR Talon, because we did have to sign a document before entering this venue that we would predict only the Brazilian teams to win.
Yeah, the one that I got wrong, I got, yes, MIBR Talon, and I got Cloud9 PaperX. I did go for PaperX, and my heart breaks for that.
I went with that. I did go FPX over Carmine. I still feel like that could have gone either way because it was just such a
a match of Valorant.
It was just a match of Valorant that happened. So, but anyway, I don't know. I'm gonna step it up. I'm gonna make sure that I close things out really cleanly for the rest of
you know what? For our audience back at home, why don't you let us know where you are with your predictions right now and use that hashtag VCT LOCK-in and VCT, and hopefully you could pop up in our social media posts during the commercial break, because we genuinely want to know where you are with your Preds as it stands. But folks, that's basically going to wrap things up for our pre-show. We learned a lot today.
We did.
Kind of. We also
I would say
realized
that was an educational pre-show.
a majority of our audience are very hungry, so make sure you take care of that. But for today's matches, we have 4 teams that are going to be stepping into the cage, and only 2 are going to be moving on. The stuff behind me sort of looks like a cage, so just roll with it. Trust me, it makes sense. But in any case, folks, VCT Lock-in Day 4 starts right now. It's time for another epic chapter in the never-ending story of NA versus EMEA. We have NRG taking on Giants Gaming, two incredible squads, but only one can move on. And Mimi, I think at this point in time, if you are a fan of either one, you're kind of clenching pretty hard because you don't know where the chips are going to fall when it's all said and done.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. We saw Giants before, but with that match, we didn't, I don't think, got to see their full potential. Now they're here against an opponent where they are the underdog. They are the team with something to prove, and if they can do that, that would be so incredibly huge.
Yeah, they got the upper hand. They got that little bit of EMEA in them as well with Artis. He's going to know the ins and outs, what to do, how to counter strat in the EMEA
That's
team.
how it works, totally, yeah.
Yeah, it's completely like that. No, but I am curious to see how this is going to go. I mean, Artis himself didn't have to have a crazy, level of impact in their prior series, but one of the things that we did see was Fitno actually kind of hovering around the bottom versus Detonation. So I'm going to be looking to see if Fitno can actually level up his performance coming in here today, because he's going to need to if they want to walk away victorious.
Yeah, I would say it's actually very parallel stories where both of these teams, their cores were doing so incredibly well that neither Jet player really needed to pop off. But now this is a matchup where that is really going to matter, especially for Fatinho.
Yeah.
He is so young, he is so new to this, and Artis is one of the GOATs of that Jet role.
Well, we got our vetoes coming in here. Ascent's going to go first for NRG, Giants coming up next. And we've been seeing as well, Lotus is being floated again. NRG did this before as well, Mimi.
Sure.
So I don't know.
We saw them, I was going to say, we saw them elect to go to Icebox. Both of these teams have actually only played Haven Icebox so far, so this is going to be our first look for both of them on Lotus. We'll have to see what happens with the rest of this one. Giants, where do they want to take us?
Yeah, this one is interesting. I didn't expect Giants to give that initial Fracture ban, because NRG second banned it last time, but instead, we do get that gone. So Lotus starts, Giants do head back to Haven, like you said. Both these teams have played this map. They both looked very good in their matchup there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 13-9 for NRG, a 13-4 versus Detonation for Giants. So certainly are going to be feeling very comfortable on Haven, but we don't get to see Pearl. I wonder if they just float Icebox for the end, and yes, they will. So Lotus is just going to be the new look here.
I'm genuinely, something just kind of gave me goosebumps here a little bit, because we're going to be getting a lot of fresh looks.
Yeah.
And Lotus, I mean, anything can happen. Yes, NRG picks it, but I don't think anyone should feel confident, honestly.
Yeah, what are these teams' solutions to the map? In the first one, we saw K-Core versus FPX. They both played a duelist composition. Cloud9, they came out and brought in a Neon, tried out the Chamber. PaperX also tried that. Different teams have had different solutions thus far, and this NRG core tends to be innovators, so I'm excited to see what they come up with.
Yeah. Our Prime Gaming Age Select is going to be coming up here in a moment, and we are going to get those fresh looks, Seth, and those fresh ideas potentially. It's NRG on Lotus. There's a lot of reasons to be excited here.
I mean, with the hovers right now that we're seeing from the side of NRG, they seem to be taking a lead out of K-Core for the Xbox. No duelist by the look of it here.
Yeah, so this is a composition that I didn't expect most teams to lean into, but I saw a lot of merit in it in that first matchup. Double controller provides you a lot of sustain, helps with that A-long fight, but what I think hurts you is you don't have a Raze or something like that to be able to really early fight, which you do have that from the side of Giants. This is going to be a really interesting matchup.
Well, it's all said and done. Let's dive into the game. Lotus is going to be the battleground for map number 1, so it's time to send it over to our casters who have never, ever, and I mean ever, cursed a team with their pick'ems before. It's, of course, Brennan's Sideshow.
Quite an interesting throw there from GB. I mean, I don't know what he's referring to. You know, what is he insinuating?
Who knows?
Never cursed a team in my life, really. No.
And it's not really a matter of curses in this match, is it? I think the vast majority of people would consider NRG the favourites in a similar way to the manner in which they were favourites in the first game. Yeah. There is still chances for them to lose. Giants look dangerous. It's just that the edge is given to NRG in both of their matchups, but that doesn't mean they're safe by any means.
No, not safe at all. And we have a very interesting map number 1, as the desk was kind of alluding to and talking about. That Lotus pick is very, very intriguing, honestly. You think a team like NRG as well, that old Optic core, big fan of the counter-stratting, big fan of having knowledge, you know, in terms of what they're going to be facing with their opponents and their map picks and whatnot. So going to a fresh map, and something that really just tells you, you know, okay, they're going to be taking Giants to Lotus. We've got the better read of how to play this map here and now.
But I think that that's dangerous as well, right?
It is.
Let's take a look at the pistol round, though, to start. Giants with a comp that could be fresh out of Haven. quite different to what we've seen other teams run, whereas NRG, we've seen this formula before, we know that it works. We saw Karmine Corp playing it really well. And it's a slow beginning, isn't it?
Yeah, very cautious. In fact, for this pistol round as well, NRG's comp, usually pretty good the way we've seen it being played, at least, at, taking some of that deep A main control around the pillars and whatnot, but it is very, very slow. We're only reaching that minute mark now in this pistol round. Just starting to see a bit more control coming through now with the drone.
And Victor is going to use the dog to try and reclaim some information. Does he see anybody? Yep, just spotted Nuki there. So now there's 3 players from NRG drifting in this direction. 50 seconds, it's got to be an A commit, probably.
Flash through the wall is going to give them good information, and fight's being taken. Paranoia and the flash right through it. Giants more than favored. I mean, 2 kills in that exchange. Now the door's going to be rotating around. They'll be working their way into the A site, but it is known by NRG. Hard rotations coming out of them.
30 seconds left.
With 30 seconds left, the spike has to be planted. That's going to start to. Just stop for about a moment, though, and they do want to take the fight. Once more to them at the back of the site, just dropping down, but it is Giants containing.
All down to Crashies. This is so difficult, and Hoodie with the Sheriff claims the pistol round for Giants. That was looking really sketchy for a while there, as Giants struggled to get into sight. They had to commit to the A site, and NRG knew what was happening, but it seemed like at some point, right as the plant was going down, NRG gambled on pushing into the site and trying to deny the plant from happening. You couldn't quite see it from the POVs that we were looking at, but I think that kind of fight was determining everything there.
Giants were very ready for any sort of aggression that was towards A main. You saw them with the Paranoia and the flash as an instant response. As soon as the Viper wall went down, and catching a couple of players unaware.
And this is quite interesting, actually. NRG have been running this same kind of defensive look that we saw from Karmine Corp, but this time on the eco round, they've got Victor here looking to make some kind of trap play work.
Paranoia is going to be let loose, and that's NRG with a hard stack now. All the players trying to fight over control of sand. A fast rotation and pivot.
And the gamble there hasn't quite worked. They were hoping to lure Giants into that C sand area and get a collapse on them as FNS comes through that rotating door. And instead, when you gamble your eco round so heavily towards C, it has just opened the door for Rhyme to make the call, pivot into A. This should be a fairly easy plan. Interesting idea, though, and it showcases that NRG have some traps that they want to lean into. But, Bren, I think it's worth... Well, hello, wait a second. This might not be all...
Yeah, to get a little bit dangerous, honestly, with Hoodie falling. It's a reclear from Cloud, but he's on the other side of the wall now, and it's a bit of ADS fire from Ryan, but he's caught out in the open as a turret slowing him down, and the weapons have been exchanged. The rifle's now in the hands of NRG. Fully equipped, they are low on health though. Now Trailblazer to try and get them through it. Tino with some decent damage. The dog going flying past, another satchel. Just lay it out, and the players, they eventually double up. They were healthier at the end of the day to be able to take those fights, but it got a bit dangerous.
Very dangerous there. Giants almost letting that one slip. And considering they had a Vandal and 2 Bulldogs, they haven't managed to keep much in. Fatinho, though, instantly stepping up and delivering towards the end, particularly there, when his team needed him to. You heard the desk talk about how Fatinho wasn't really the player at the top of the scoreboard, but he wasn't required. They beat a destination into the ground, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely smashed them.
So back to a bit more of a default hold, except that FNS is not watching towards the B side. This is a really heavy commit from the defenders to control this A space.
Yep, and look at this. It's an instant answer once more from Giants. It's a Paranoia, the flashes, all grouped up into the corner, stunned up, and they cannot go anywhere. It's easy cleanup for Rhyme.
And Rhyme just calling a halt to this as well. Trying to solidify in a 4v3 and making Crashies use this piece of utility just to get some information. Have they pivoted? Are they going over towards C where nobody from the defense is playing? From the look of it, with the information that we have on the minimap, it looks like it's going to be an A re-hit, but NRG can't know that. They have to send Crashies back over to reinforce that weak area of the map.
Yeah.
And this is where Rhyme's RGLing is going to be so important, because it's opened them up an avenue.
So Trailblazer destroyed now with 50 seconds left. There is, of course, the Seekers online for Victor if you wanted to get some of that mid-round information, but doesn't opt to be using it. In fact, the way he's moving around the map right now, looks like they are just stacking over towards C.
And I think this is going to be a save.
Yeah, at this point, I think as soon as the spike goes down, they're not going to be aware, obviously, until it ends up being dropped down onto the ground, but No one's really in position to contest this one. They've given up so much control of the map. I'd be very surprised if they wanted to recontest.
Playing for exits here would be useful for NRG. They're obviously not going to go for a full retake here, 3v4, without any information or control towards A.
Yeah.
But while we've got a bit of time to discuss and they just play for those exits, this is another slow start for NRG, right? Not necessarily in terms of their individual performance or anything, but just losing the pistol, losing the bonus now. This is the kind of stuff that was hurting them in their opening game, again, when they were playing the defense against Koi. And I think that that's a big question. It's way too early to know the answer yet.
Sure.
But have NRG actually solved that slow start to the tournament? Because they had one really bad half in the game against Koi, and then it was pretty even from then on. Their attack sides were amazing. But there's only so many times you can have slow starts before you get punished for it. You can't always pull back from a 9-3 deficit.
And in this tournament, every single mistake can snowball out of control. They're being singular limbed.
I love the way that Giants have fought for this area. Those two players flashed up, allowed Ryan the easiest kills.
It's always using the timings of their opponents, a little bit of utility that they send through, and it's just a counterplay every single time. Paranoia, a stun, a flash is used off of NRG's contact and utility being used.
So no heavy fight over A lobby this time. It's where NRG are going to try to put pressure, but Giants are in the opposite side of the map.
You can see NRG have gained control of that deep A main area. They sent a ton of utility over, but while all that was happening, it's a slow take from Giants moving forwards.
And it's so slow that NRG are getting the rotates back to C.
Now that util once more, Paranoia comes straight across, Nanoswarm, doubled up, Artis caught unaware, the back of the side, he had no one to really play off of. Now the Seekers sent flying through, eventually going to be dealt with and taken out still. Control of the site needs to be gained to a degree because there are players just kind of swarming, waiting from NRG. Victor posted up on this angle, he knows where Cloud is. In a safe position, a safe angle, just holding it, waiting. The right time to strike. Now his team's finally there to back him up. Smoke's going to be dropped down, flash in his hands, comes through deep into the site, but it's just that 1-for-1. Holding the close angles, Giants, really great control of this one. And they're shutting down NRG.
What a play. Excellent round by Giants. And Fatinho giving me flashbacks to when we were watching Jing on this map. HyperX were super aggressive, double satcheling their rays deep into the sites. And despite the fact that they lost on Lotus, I thought that that was an interesting idea. I mean, Fatinho got crazy deep, was able to pick off, with the help of a Paranoia, the defending site anchor of Ardis, and then gets into a good post plant where he can wreak havoc. Giants clearly look organized here. And if you can push the C site like that against Ardis, it means NRG might have to start pulling players away from A early. They're still playing 4 here for the first 10 seconds of the round. Look how much they're committing to the A side of the map.
Yeah.
And that leaves Ardis on an island for the opener. If Giants get the read on that and they start punishing, there's got to be an adjustment from NRG.
I think this round might have just been a couple of gambles being taken, though, by NRG with the weaker weapons.
Possibly, but that's the same defensive start to the round that they had in round 4 as well.
Sure.
So I think that that's clearly an idea that they've got, that they're just trusting Ardis to hold on to C for the rotates to come in. You can see now with FNS and Crashies there, it looks more solid, but it failed last round.
Yeah, hard rotation over, and Som just jump peeking that one, seeing if he can get a bit of information, which he does. Shots fired his way, sent out a deeper smoke as well that cuts him up, so that is some... does a good job of hiding, I think, the potential that he could be lurking around the corner, but Giants, they are not even worried about this.
Yeah, they sold a fake towards A just in terms of pushing those players back, and now only FNS is here. He's got a stinger.
No
Can that
choice
be
but to
enough?
hold close yet because of the stinger, but there we go, showstopper. Straight across the site. Dark going to be clearing a lot more as well. It's a freebie for them. NRG, though, obviously, with these weapons that they've got, they don't want to be opting for a save. Either playing for the exits or just trying to get a couple of rifles into the hands of themselves. This plan position so difficult to deal with as well.
Yeah, it's a rough position for NRG to be in. It is difficult to get back into the C site on a retake, and there's a couple of players, I mean, Cloud in particular, that's close to his ultimate, so you take him down, you're kind of helping him.
Straight into the side, but Util's out in their hands, and it looks like nobody's watching the back of it. Just cleaning up from Fatinho, and there's the Nano Swarm. Just at the feet of Ardis, he drops down, and yeah, when you get into that post-plant position, spikes planted for that deep sight line down into C, I feel like you need to have the threat of maybe a flank coming through the rotating doors or something, but
it's once more a good entry by Fatinho, right?
Yeah.
And this is really crushing the C defense. I don't think you should take too much away from this round because it's an eco from NRG. But so far, they haven't been able to stop Fatinho from getting through that choke point. He's currently 10-1 on attack side rate. And I think that this is a perfect time for Chet to take a timeout, and you'll see that NRG have gone into a tactical. And Brent, I think we've got to start having this discussion about, does it make sense for NRG to be leaning into Lotus? Isn't that something that the underdog would try to do? Throw a wildcard pick in there? That's a gamble, isn't it?
It's a gamble. You're going to be going in with the expectation, essentially, there, where you're saying, okay, we're going to go into this. We haven't seen you play this map before, but we're going to assume that we have the correct read on this one. There's no prior information you can go off. It's purely just reacting to what you see in the server from the get-go.
And NRG have been good on new maps before. We've seen them lead the meta on Fracture for a long time. Their Pearl looked really good when they pulled that out too. But can you do it 3 times in a row?
That's a hard ask, I think. Very, very hard ask.
And this first half is going to come down to the round coming up right here. NRG 1 round away from having a broken economy again. And in the timeout, they've swapped Ardis over to A. So instead of playing for that A pressure, they're stacking the C side. And once more, it looks like Giants might have read this. They're pushing towards the weak end of the map, where Ardis is going to be asked to do it all.
Yeah, past few rounds, NRG have been putting tremendous amount of utility to try and punish towards A. This time on the other side of the map. So still Giants sending a couple of pieces of utility, making sure that their presence is known with that boombot as well. So Ardis has got to be quite worried, I think, from this anchoring position.
And the door's been broken, drone comes out, and this is going to make FNS think that they could be pivoting to B. And it looks like that might be what Giants are going for, grouping up now in that B entrance.
The potential is there, ults to try and clear through into the side, but this B side can be quite difficult to try and get through. There's the fault line over the top. FNS is going to be opting to use his own ultimate in the way, has to dodge round the corner. There was a nade sent flying, and it's got Giants into the site. Now the Rolling Thunder, and a bit of spam. It has caught him up close and personal. It matters not. Fatinho's behind him, though, dodging the dog, almost going down to it. He was decayed down to 1 HP, but he's managed to work his way behind them. Finally cleaned up, but it is chaotic right now on the B site. While all this was going on, Cloud creeping and crawling. He's found his own way into C. But the spike is in the middle of nowhere. This is all over the place right now for Giants. Up top! Oh my goodness! Bit of a reset of the aim there. Ardis lucky to get out alive, and Cloud has been caught. Good heads-up play by Som, being aware that that could be a possibility.
And here's where you see NRG's compositional strengths. It is really difficult to get into B unless you're splitting into the site. And even then, against the Viper's Pit, they just took so much damage.
Yeah, I think that's
incredibly
difficult.
Yeah, it was certainly chaotic, Bren. You're really right on that. Except that Giants were constantly taking decay damage the entire time. So all of those interactions, they just had a massive health deficit. And back-to-back timeouts here.
Interesting.
Wow, Pipson pushing his foot on the brake, stopping any potential momentum from NRG.
Yeah, very interesting time for the timeout, because it feels like, I mean, Giants ended up opting to go into that B split with that early A pressure. Listen, you gambled incorrectly because, like we said, the Viper's Pit from FNS really just putting a stop to anything that they were trying to do. But
well, I think
feels like Giants have had a very good read so far on this map.
I would agree with that. Yeah, they've got a good idea of the push and pull. That's the only round where the macro game fell apart.
Yeah.
And I think maybe they could have done with sending, after Cloud droned through the breakable door, you maybe want to send somebody with that drone and have Cloud follow it. It's a bit dangerous because if there are A players, you can get backstabbed there as you're committing to B. But I think overall, it's just too difficult to push B from that tiny choke point. Nevertheless, Giants have so far had a good read, and even if they're just alternating between A and C hits, it's been very difficult for NRG to get enough good information to inform their rotates quickly enough. This time, though, Som does have his ultimate. So that's something that they could potentially use to reinforce Ardis.
Reinforce Ardis, you know, help him out as he is anchoring, but similar play from Giants. Same sort of utility being used towards A just to get them into position. They've been doing this enough that it doesn't really give away too much of what Giants might be trying. They've cut noise usually playing a bit more slower in the mid-round, but this time there is a bit of pace injected behind this as the drone gets sent through the rotating door. He's not really following that one up because of the nano swarm. Still just holding. Victor's Trailblazer, that's a great stun, and FNS, wow. What a way to pounce on that one. Rhyme tried to TP his way out of there, but the door getting broken, I think. Took Rhyme by surprise, most definitely.
Absolutely. And Artist managed to re-clear into the tree area too, so he knows that he's not under pressure.
Oh, this could be it though. They're contacting Re-Up, and that's a push through to smoke. FNS tries to coordinate that with the flash, but ultimately not too much with it. Crashy's returning. A little bit of a late backstab there from the side connector, but still they have to deal with Artist, and 1-2 kills. Victor knows where the final player is. Nuki versus 3. We've seen him do similar things in the past. He's found the first kill. The potential for the aces on a quick little tap at a spike, has no idea where the remaining players could be.
He is so fantastic in the clutch though, you can't give him anything.
Biding his time, a quick tap at a plant. He knows that Crashes is at least there. Now the paranoia, so he knows both players are in that position, but Crashes already worked his way up and shuts it down before it gets really out of hand.
That's an incredibly close one though. Even with NRG playing the defense beautifully, breaking the door to capitalize on the first kill, Crashy's coming through to play the same position as FNS to get a second. Artist finally finding his footing with the side anchoring, even though all of those things went well, still gets a bit hairy.
Yeah, really difficult.
And I think something interesting is really happening here too. NRG are getting a good read on where Giants are going. They're stacking the right side of the site. They just failed to actually get good defenses off the first few times, but watch how quickly they rotate. NRG are going to have 3 or 4 players on A very quickly here, I think. Crashy's already moving.
Son picking up this operator, rotating door. That's a great stun again. Trailblazer just not being taken care of. Second time in back-to-back rounds where Rhyme's been punished, and now Victor wants to try and make a play of his own. Pop flash through, doesn't find anything in the rotating door. Oh, it's causing all sorts of trouble.
Bizarre.
Dropped down to 16 health.
Absolutely bizarre. All 4 players of Giants inside tree right now.
Yep, and the lockdown's placed down, which is going to be pushing these NRG players all the way out of here. Crashy's is one away from the ultimate, not going to have that to clear away, so you have to give up this space right now. But NRG
counter
be quite
lockdown?
aware. Yeah. They have the potential for it. And there we go. Drop down onto the ground.
And now they're all going to get pushed into Victor. Oh, the
Hunter's Fury.
Hunter's Fury, though. Yeah, that's going to clear it out. I missed that one. They've obviously got the counter to that play, so they can sit pretty on site.
Some's dealt with. Just trying to swing through from heaven, and he's a difficult position to try and weed Giants out of. 2 of them inside the retaining door, catches a few of them. Vitinho, though, that's a great little flick of the wrist. Artist still works his way across, and the crossfire's there, but time is running low. FNS solo, 22 health, and just not enough to work with. Shut down. Giants taking another round.
Giants taking a commanding presence in this game. There's so many of these rounds, whether it be A hits or C hits, they've got the advantage in these situations, getting into good post-plant spots and shutting down the retakes. NRG are holding on for dear life here, and it's really reminding me of Icebox against Koi. That first map we saw of the tournament, where it got to 8-2 in favor of Koi before NRG just essentially gave up on the defense, and FNS said, listen guys, just get me as many as you can and I'll win it for you on the attack. Can he do the same on Lotus? Because this is already not looking like a great half.
It's a weak goodbye for NRG. Weaker weaponry, but it's not going to be slowing down Giants. They bide their time for a little bit, but now they're sending it all in, and there's that aftershock. It actually catches onto Artist. I think there was potentially a nade as well that accompanied it. Definitely brought him low enough, and dealing with that one, no more Killjoy utility to try and slow them down, but NRG are taking a gamble. They've already rotated all of their players over here. FNS just peeking a little bit here, contacting through. Paranoia around the side, but no one's clearing that angle properly. Little push through from FNS, not enough bullets in the clip to make the most of it.
And Giants are up to 7. This now really is do or die for the half for NRG. They've got another attempt, another rifle round. They've got to find a stop to this. And Giants have got great ultimates to work with. We saw Vitinho double blast back in with that showstopper to C before. I know you guys can't see it at the moment. I mean, take a look at that nade. The nade aftershock combo just rinses Artist here. Dodges the nade straight into the aftershock. Great play. But what we're seeing right now on the mini-map too as we head into round 10, Giants are pinging out the C site, going for a similar hit by the look of it. And Som and Victor are going to be under immense pressure here.
Looks like they might want to try and fight, honestly. There's a flash coming through. Need to get rid of that drone, though. Now a flash, and as a showstopper, stun all the way into them. Victor was so far out of position. A response by Crashies. The Hunter's Fury claims one, does a bit of damage, but they've already lost this site. They having control of this one. How do they want to play this? Crashies inside the smoke. And they're going to be flushing him out. Juking, and that's good timing. Wasn't watching the smoke there, Rhyme, a little bit late to it.
That's a huge kill.
Plan, and a great little flank timing from FNS as well.
That takes down the Breach ultimate. Major play, and the plant hasn't even gone down. Nuki was playing in that position so that he could post-plant use his ult. And now things got so dangerous. FNS's position amazing again.
Yeah, he's read this so well, but Rhyme does an even better job of making sure to clear him out. Spike's in his hands, and he does have the ult online, so that's an immediate TP over towards A.
And the 1v1 is going to be some prime EMEA versus EMEA action. Rhyme on Ardis.
We'll see who ends up coming out on top here, pushing for the smoke! And just the aim just not quite there. Rhyme getting 3 kills in a round, the Red Bull clutch. And Giants, it feels like they are running away with this map, Josh, and it comes back to that question we were saying, that gamble from NRG to take Giants to Lotus.
Definitely agree with you. If NRG have got to have some incredible plans on their attack side, otherwise this is already game over. You could tell Giants were going for this C hit, and it was an attempt to counter it by playing some aggression there, but they just fell into the showstopper play. Yeah. And look at Ardis' frustration. Rhyme walked through the smoke without a care in the world, and Ardis just couldn't flick his crosshair around in time.
Yeah, just wasn't there in time.
What a fumble. Should have been NRG's all day long.
Oh, that's rough for Ardis, but still claims one. That is bizarre. There was no one breaking the dart for him, so he was fully revealed up. Giants should have been aware that he was crossed, but that's Ardis for you, honestly. The raw talent just breaking through at times like this, and God, do they need it.
Is that redemption? Getting the first pick in round 11 after failing to clutch round 10 when he was favored? Possibly. We'll see how the rest of it goes.
The setup has been switched up by NRG on their defensive side, so they got FNS just solo playing A, and the rest of the Giants once more lurking up behind C. They have control of this, and it looks like they want to try and fake and pull rotations with Cloud towards A again. He's droning alone at A main. FNS should be able to see this, and I wonder if he makes the call to pull these players back. Well, not give him too much time for it. That's a Rolling Thunder and the nade. Seeker's used in response to it. They haven't cleared any of this Killjoy utility, but the Aftershock pushes back some. Can't quite fire and find his crossfire, still swinging into it. It's a difficult and labored fight to take. Double Satchel from Fatinho! Oh, and what a reset of the aim!
Oh, baby, Fatinho is playing like he's on fire right now.
Grenade back in his hands as well off the back of those 2 kills. Still, FNS, no one's watching that angle. A wide swing from Crashies, and he claims it. And just like that, NRG, they answer back in kind, pound for pound, claiming the round.
And the retake is just as good as the entry into the site.
Yeah.
How on earth have NRG turned that one around? Som coming through from that B connector picks up both of the players from such unusual positions. Giants have been amazing in those post plants, but they let that one slip away from them. And has that given a lifeline to NRG? Taking a look at the replay here, you see Fatinho pushing through off the back of a breach flash. It's just stunning.
It's really powerful, honestly. Even if you aim to try and play retake on C, the composition the Giants are running gives you so many tools to push deep into there. Like you said, Josh, the breach flash, the satchel play immediately.
But that is just brilliance from Som. You saw those final 2 kills as the Giants players tried to double face.
Yeah.
And normally Giants have just been really passive in those post plants. Nothing NRG can do, but all right, another bit of aggression towards Sand. Ardis once more, alone on C. They can never get their sight anchors in a position to actually challenge this entry. Giants are just allowed in through the front door every time.
It's a bit further back though, and that util is being cleared up. Som, it's a fast rotation using his own ult, so they're going to have the bodies, they're going to have the players to try and fight this one. Dart's not being watched for, but the weapons a little bit weak, a little bit low. Spectres at play, a bit of run and gun forwards, and they are getting beamed down. It's an even fight, 3v3, even the Viper's Pit being committed. So Spike is dropped into the corner. FNS, he can't spam any of these angles. He's working with the Vandal. It's finding it difficult. Opts to do it anyway, right into the side. There's another flash into the back of it. And the swing is good from NRG, all down to Fatinho. He could do this one, reset of the aim, crashes low, and he does finalize it. Cool, calm, and collected in the clutch, and he claims that 4th round for NRG. Maybe, just maybe, giving them a slight chance now.
Wow, that is absurd. NRG with those final 2 rounds, I think, have done enough to be able to give themselves a lifeline heading into this map. Especially when Fatinho has 20 kills and almost wins this final clutch. Just needed a single bullet onto Crashies. Look at what it means to NRG, but they are still going to be climbing uphill, and it's so difficult to pull this back. They need a masterclass from FNS.
Yeah, really difficult ask, but let's hear what the desk has to say about the first half of Lotus.
Incredible stuff from Giants, and I think it's safe to say that we knew, Mimi, coming into this match that it was going to be an exciting one. We wanted to see the capacity and the talent of this Giants roster, and we are definitely getting that here on Lotus.
I think we saw that. They came in with this composition, bringing out the Raze and the Omen, and what I wanted to highlight was the way they played around this double dive to get early space on their attack. It was absolute perfection. There's a few clips to take a look at here. The first one is how they were dealing with a long control. Very pivotal part of the map. And what they're doing is they brought their Omen teleport across, but also their Raze double satchel to this close position. And every time NRG tried to fight this, there was fantastic counter utility from Giants, which meant these players were just being sacrificed. For NRG's comp, it really felt like they needed to play into being a bit more passive, and Giants punished them when they didn't. Another execute here with Fatinho double satcheling in combined with utility. It's just so overwhelming when you have that Omen TPing in, that Raze satcheling, and you're just being pinched from 2 sides.
Yeah, I mean, they're picking him up, and how can you not? Fatinho's just looking absolutely immaculate so far in this half. 455 ACS in the half is insane, and right now he's got 20 kills with only 8 deaths.
Yeah.
He has been instrumental to the success of this team, and we were kind of talking about it, getting ready to come into this series. Didn't see too much from him in their first set versus Detonation. Didn't need to step up. Now he's got much tougher opponents in NRG, and by God is he rolling with the punches.
But here's the thing. This is the same situation NRG was in last time they
Slightly
played.
better.
Down at the half, looking really rough. Pull a couple big plays right towards the end, and maybe make a comeback, but it's going to require something huge from FNS.
I think it's also important to note as well, and something for Fatinho that we have to give his flowers for here, is that he genuinely has been going in and just getting 2. It's like not a matter of them supporting him so well. Yes, they're doing that, but also he's just fragging out. And if he keeps doing that, this is going to be a tough time at the office for NRG. So with that being said, let's get our second half underway and send it back over to our casters.
Can NRG do it again? Can they bring it back from the brink?
This IGL battle of Rhyme against FNS is going to be so important.
Yeah.
Rhyme's been playing fantastically so far. Love all the decision making and as an individual. It looks like they want to take control of tempo early. You can see Fatinho and Rhyme pushing B, or jiggling it at least. Is this some kind of C crunch with a fault line?
It looks like it. I mean, they've got control of that rotating door. A deeper smoke, even a door being opened up. This could go really wrong, but no, it's a stun and the paranoia coming through. Counter flash play running forwards. Fully blinded up, but it matters not to NRG. They do claim the kills, walking away from that relatively unscathed. He has to be careful though. Aftershock forwards, not enough in terms of the timing of it, not quite fast enough to prevent NRG from really just swarming that site.
And it's a cute play from Giants. A nice tactic, but it didn't quite work. And once that initial gambit has failed, they really have no chance left in the round. Cloud would have to put on something absurd here to stop NRG from taking pistol. And that's going to give NRG that kickstart back into the half that they so desperately require. Yeah. That's the same thing that happened to them on Icebox against Koi. They came in 3-9 down at the half and won the pistol. It's not like pistols are guaranteed in this game.
No.
Especially when you don't know the kind of plays that Giants are going to pull out. But good reaction from NRG to avoid getting caught in that trap.
Giants going to be playing it safe, of course. No major investment from this one, just going to be the eco round for them. NRG are going to be afforded a bit of breathing room, assuming they're able to clean up this round where they are favored in it.
Yeah, and I'm really interested in what FNS pulls out in round 15. Assuming that it goes their way, he called a fantastic bonus round on Icebox. So that's kind of what's going to be going through his head here as well. Yeah. You just got to make sure that these anti-ecos don't slip up. Optic were pretty bad with them at various points in tournaments in the past, but they had managed to clean it up by the end of 2022.
Deep flash, just in case somebody was holding close behind the box in B main. But just buying their time now. 1 minute on the clock. One of the nice things about this composition that NRG are running is that they have that drone and the Trailblazer like you're seeing here. So you can afford to play a bit slow in your own spawn, and then you can re-clear using that utility.
I mean, this is really slow though, isn't it? And I don't think that NRG really have any idea where Giants are.
No.
They haven't spotted anything aggressive, but they don't know if there's a stack on one of the sites. FNS making the right call though, heading over towards A.
That's what they're worried about. Wall in the face of Crashies. Not sure if that's going to be disrupting his lineup or what, but Smoke's dropped down, and Cloud, the sole player on A, is dealt with quite quickly. Nice little utility just being used to clear out the site. Bit of a glimpse of maybe what we might see as well, moving deeper into this half.
And I'm interested there because Crashies decided to go for the plant. I feel like feeding that to Ardis so that he's 2 away from his lockdown and then can go and clean up some ecos could give you an idea to run round 15, but hey, maybe I'm giving FNS a bit too much credit here, but the fact that they're not loading it into one of their ultimates and playing opportunistically makes me think he's got something cooked up. And maybe that's not from the brain of FNS, maybe that's more from Czech, because I know Czech gets really nerdy with it.
Yeah, he certainly does. Giants, oh my,
Whoa.
just wading into one another. Yeah.
All good.
All good,
All
all
good.
good. Giants just aiming to make this expensive.
And not even, it looks like they're just trying to die to the spike, right, and deny those ult orbs over to NRG. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's see. Has FNS got something incredible here? Round 15 that they played against Koi on Icebox, they went for an A default into a tube push. It was masterful, it looked gorgeous, and it got their momentum back. The weaponry that they're working with here is not too shoddy. Phantom on Ardis, Bulldog on Som. Have they got some kind of special idea cooked up? It looks like both teams are going to be contesting this A area early.
Yeah, there's not too much util though from the Giant side. It's going to be loaded into that choke point. Just a very far back position being held there by Fatinho. Deep dart, a bit of spam. And at the same time, you can see Rhyme just setting up that one way, trying to control this one particular section. I suppose he's playing the Omen as well. If there is a drone at play, he can break the dart, break the drone. Doesn't have to do that, just TP's back to safety.
Okay, so they're making it look like this is C pressure. They've got Ardis coming through B, controlling the rotating door while the rest of the players are over towards C, but not everybody is committing here. I'm wondering if there's something funky going on. Giants haven't bitten just yet. They're not over-rotating players to C. Still Nookie, still Hoodie, watching towards the B site, because they know that at any point that rotating door can be used for a pivot into that small choke point.
There's FNS's Viper Orb obviously going up, and that does hide things ever so slightly. So Rhyme doesn't know quite how pushed they are. Bit of roll spam now. The Trailblazer should be leading them in. Been prioritizing these orbs on FNS, but they're not quite into the site yet. That stun connects. Rhyme is in a lot of trouble. Couldn't quite get rid of that dart that was just lighting him up. Gives FNS an easy kill, and he does have that ult online now because of it. Lets it loose with the Viper's Pit. It's going to make it that much harder still. There's 27 seconds left in this round, and the spike does need to be planted.
This is nerdy from Som.
Are they going to be planting the spike anytime soon, guys? Come on. Okay, there you go.
But look at this, a full save from Giants.
Yeah, it is.
They do not want any piece of this. And that's going to kind of delay the bonus round to round 16 and just put a free one on the board for NRG. I got to be honest, I didn't see anything too crazy there. No. You know, I was hyping up the bonus round strat from FNS, but I think what they gave us was more simple. You know, they put a bit of pressure on towards A and B, and they just end up trying to overwhelm Rhyme, who was anchoring the C site. Yeah. And when FNS got his kill and got the ult online, they decided to use it for a pretty guaranteed post plan. But they've got another opportunity to use another set strat here. They've still got weaker weaponry heading into round 16. Giants are still going to be not that far away from a pivotal eco round. Just like that, NRG are back in the game.
They are back in the game. Almost evening it up, but we'll say this composition that NRG are running, you're really seeing the strengths of it, I think, on the attack side. I mean, they have, like I said before, so many tools, honestly, with the utility, the Trailblazer and the drone, so that they can take their time and re-clear when they need to. And
yeah, I mean, look at how much value the dart got here, because Rhyme didn't dodge it. Yeah. He's dancing around the pillar, but just got hit by every pulse.
Yeah, not just that as well, but like the Trailblazer that they can just save. They can afford to. Yeah. Having Sova in the sky, you know, they can save the dog for when that engagement comes through and the stun connects. These Trailblazers, sounds a bit weird, but Victor's been getting some amazing value out of them, despite the fact that, you know, the guys at the bottom of the scoreboard, feels like it almost always is guaranteed in a kill, and most of the time on Rhyme.
Giants taking a timeout here as Pipson calls to the team. Making some adjustment perhaps, reinforcing the C site. We'll have to see what the benefit of this is. But it does also give Chet an opportunity to communicate with NRG. For any of the audience that's unaware, when one team takes a timeout, the other team can still talk to their coach. Yeah. It's available on both sides. It can be a bit of a double-edged sword. And Brent, if you want to talk about top and bottom of the scoreboard, FNS is having a day of it today. Yeah. This guy turns up at LAN, especially if he's got like a decent read on the map or some special idea of what he wants to do. Currently 16 and 10. Fatinho yet to find a frag in the second half. Although I think when we actually see Giants fight a bit more, Fatinho will certainly get some kills on the board. And Cloud having quite a quiet game, just playing the rotator for Giants and setting them up with utility, whereas he was a phenom in the game against Detonation. Don't count him out. He could turn around any round.
New start to this one then. The economy is booming right now for NRG. Plenty of money. Still the weaker guns that they are working with. So, like you said prior, Josh, it's the bonus that just keeps on giving.
How weak does this C site look? It makes me think Rhyme is trying to just pull utility out of them and escape, rather than hard anchoring.
I mean, they've got the one nanoswarm just laid down.
And I think that's supposed to stop him from having to worry about his back, so that he can just focus in one direction.
Being pushed from that direction.
And especially when NRG don't have a raise, don't have a jet, that nanoswarm's going to get a lot more value.
Timing's important here. You can see Cloud was using that drone, didn't spot a thing on the 50-second mark.
He still has a recon dart.
Could opt to layer it out, use it to try and get some vision. Not a Trailblazer, so good information gained. They know nobody's pushed up here from the Giant side, and time is starting to run low now. We're approaching that 30-second mark. And it's moments like this where Cloud really could be the difference maker.
He's backed up, doesn't want to fight on the site itself. Retakes seem so difficult on Lotus, to be honest, but we haven't seen too much of it just yet.
Yeah, that's a dart that lands in there. There's Cloud claiming the kill. Smoke just going up a little bit too late there. FNS going to be attempting to go for this plant. Nothing to really push him back. The players grouping up from Giants. Let's see what they've got in store for us right now. Crashies.
Wow.
His position just lurking up the rope. The smoke dissipates. He was spotted and the fight being taken. That's Fatinho winning it out. There was a paranoia to accompany it. Wall still causing issues, but only 3 players of NRG to try and make this work. Som, what a fight to take, and he does win it out against Hoodie, but Giants just surrounding the remaining players, and FNS was the lone one on the site. Is this even planted for them? What can they do? Som, smoke that's used against him now. Planted, off to the side, just trying to get the right warbang angle, but not enough bullets in the clip. And it's just stuck all the way through. Giants, they finally get that round on the board.
And not even that much economic damage done. A couple of players might have to use some light armor, but overall that is a success from Giants. Starting with Cloud, anchoring the site from a really far back position, but look how accurate and precise this shot is, just as the smoke blooms. Arguably a bit fast from Victor, but I think that's getting a bit petty at that point. It's really the post-plant wallbang that NRG are putting a lot of stock into, and it just doesn't quite pay off.
Just ends up failing, doesn't it?
So already into round 17 here, a little bit of pressure over towards Sand again.
It's one-way smoke that's been set up over that one choke point. A lot of noise being made. Crashies going to be afforded that orb.
And there's the nanoswarm gone as Crashies takes that shock dart. I'm interested to see if Artis has a plan with his lockdown. You know, no utility, oh, rather no ultimates that can break the lockdown on the other side of things. Cloud still pretty far away. Means that you could get major value out of this. If they take tree control, for example.
A bit of a partial clear of A. That's a lovely tag onto FNS.
Does that tell you too much, though? Just knowing that the Viper's there?
Not too much, does it?
It might make FNS a little timid, though, to call the A strat, but it looks like NRG are carrying on with it.
It looks like the play is going to be towards A. Pressure applied, maybe FNS just with the late backstab into mid. Tries to catch those rotations.
This looks really interesting, too, because as long as they can get a lockdown in position, it might drive people into FNS.
Cloud has been forced back, opting to play retake with the rest of his team this time. Waiting for those smokes to go up. Lance gonna go down now. And FNS could still be the difference maker. There is util being used though. You can see it on the front of B. He's not gonna be able to lurk through without being spotted by that alarm bot, and could he? Oh, he's more than aware of the possibility. Takes him out. Perfect crosshair placement.
Very good awareness. Perhaps a little early from FNS, but honestly, he was running into that alarm bot either way. Can NRG hold on?
That is so much utility. Victor just about scrapes his way through. Whoa. Oh my goodness. Leaping across them, a lovely flash timing. The re-swings from Giants is just immaculate. And it's all down to Ardis. In that 1v4, don't quite know where he is, but time was running so low at the end, and they do clean him up just in time.
Only a second left on the clock. If Ardis had been able to do anything there, win the duel against Vitinho, delay the defuse for a moment, that could have been another 1-1.
Ardis is going to be kicking himself that he just didn't stay alive in that moment, just didn't win that duel.
But Vitinho has been a monster. I know that we called out the fact that he hadn't got a kill in the first half in the few rounds that were played, but at this point, he's been instrumental in the retakes. I mean, that double blast back where he just is flying around. Sprouted wings. He's so willing to get aggressive and make space for the rest of his team is invaluable for this Giants squad.
Now you're seeing this NRG timeout. So, honestly, I think what they've just witnessed as well, they're going to be quite scared to hit A again, because the game plan from Giants, which has been largely playing for that retake, Cloud just bides his time. You saw that. There was a paranoia, there was a stun, there was a nade into the close cubby. Victor was pushed hard out of position. Makes it very difficult to try and anchor and play those post plants.
I think NRG need a real solid conversation about what to do here, because they're getting into post plant situations, no problem. They don't need to worry about that. And frankly, I don't think they're even doing that much to get into post plants. Giants are giving them the site a lot of the times. They're playing very heavy to deny B, right? But on A and on C, they just have Cloud who drops back, and then they have Rhyme who drops back. So it's all about NRG improving these post-plant situations, in my opinion. And any kind of big lurk through B is not going to be on the cards because I think the Killjoy util.
You're going to see a paranoia here from Rhyme. Yeah, it was sent through, and that's a double satchel on top of it with the stun. So Vitinho takes that early space. NRG, off the back of that, going for something a little bit different now. Trying to hit B, but they do back away. Bleeding a bit of that utility out of Giants.
They would not have been ready for the recon dart, no, I don't think.
I think it would have just absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah, that would have rolled NRG because they're just so used to Cloud playing over on the A side of the map.
This chokehold that Giants have got from that early aggression towards A main has blessed them with quite a bit of information. Vitinho's just, honestly, his entire time, there was a flash that was sent through, but he's still there holding the angle. He's like, guys, they're not here. Got to be ready for this. And as soon as they hear that orb being picked up, Giants have got to know that it's leaning towards C now at the 55 seconds mark. There's that dart. Paranoia and everything else being sent through. TP on top of the box. Ardis making the most of this one. Jumping up in the air somehow. The hell did he do that? Cloud's crosshair placement just getting upset ever so slightly, and Rhyme a bit late with the spam. So the spike's going to be planted for NRG.
And this time NRG have such a player advantage in the post plant. They should be massively favored. They can mess up some of these crossfires and stuff like that and still come out on top.
Crashes is miles away right now, but yeah, not even opting into it. Look at Giants just backing. Realize they can't really play this one. The percentage play just to save their weapons.
And this is going to give NRG a bit of a closer game. 2 rounds in it now. And what's the difference maker there? I think just the fact that Giants decided to fight for C a little more. Yeah. They lost 2 players scrapping on the site when most of the time they've been relying on retake situations.
Crashies. Holding an angle. I think he wants to take a couple of the guns away. Obviously his teammates will be able to buy for him if he does go down, but his own money quite low, but nothing comes of it.
Yeah, he definitely could have got even more aggressive there, because even if he dies, he'd get his ult online.
Yeah.
Here you see the entry. Possibly that's just a bit too aggressive from Hoodie. When he goes for the swing out like that, Cloud can't really help him. Not favored in the duel, doesn't know how many people he's peeking into. Same kind of play again though here, Brent. That paranoia that you called out before from Rhyme and a double blast back from Vitinho.
Yeah, I think it's really quite powerful. Gives him instant control of this A main area.
My ult is ready.
Obviously, NRG have been clearing this one with the Trailblazer. You think it can reach up there? Probably not.
It can see, I think.
It can see.
The dog can look upwards.
So here you go. You see the same play being made around the pillar. Wait a second.
Doggy didn't look upwards.
It didn't see him.
They're like pigs. Pigs can't crane their neck to look at the sky.
Yeah.
As far as pigs know, the sky doesn't exist.
A drone for a drone. Now towards Sam. Crashies with his ult to work with, but might just want to save it, as Hoodie is 2 points away from his own lockdown. It's really the only counter they've got towards it.
And that's the final shock dart used from Crashies there. Both Nanoswarms still alive on C. First one popped.
Double flash is used to try and push them back. The flash actually misses. Blinds most of his own team there. And if they try and pivot now into B,
this is going to be a full A pivot.
Yeah.
They're really trying to sell things here, but Giants aren't biting completely.
And with 30 seconds remaining, Rhyme is in a great position to just, again, be a nuisance in the sidelines here. Som out in the open with the wall falling. Rhyme spots that for info, but he knows could be someone B main. Has to keep his eyes on it. It's difficult for them. And where do they want to go from this? Seeker popped. Artist now with a late lurk. That backstab, the crosshair placement was good, but shut down. And time is running so low. 11 seconds remaining. But no one towards that A site. They've done enough to try and make them think that it could be B. Crashies was just wading into there. Just fights being taken all over the place, pushing through.
Yeah, NRG getting a bit scrambled here. I don't think this went to plan. The post-plan position's rough. Everyone feeling like they need to make a play because of the player disadvantage. You need to see something massive from FNS or Som.
He's on an island right now. The flash is pushed back. Good crosshair placement. Finds one, but it ends up double swinging into the back of the side. And Som, he's dealt with. That reflank from Hoodie, perfect timing.
And it's the same problems rearing their head again there for NRG. They can get into the site, but things get chaotic. Post-plan positions don't look so drilled. And Giants are cleaning them up. Look at the replay here. Fatinho coming in, just clearing all of these areas. And because Giants keep a lot of their utility, they've got it all for post-plan. Yeah. And you could see that frustration coming through. Frustration from Victor, from Chet there, as they realize that this map is slipping away from them. And the gamble that they went for in the map veto, coming back to bite them.
Giants just 2 rounds away from taking this first map, and remember, still high stakes. Pressure is on, single elimination.
This C side does look so weak. When you look at it on the minimap and it's only Rhyme there.
Oh, and FNS makes the call to contact. Not making any noise, and it's all about timings here. Rhyme backing away with his knife.
Now this is
a
great call from NRG. How have they got this read? But it's so perfect.
Oh yeah, it's worked out in their favor. The smoke's now just being dropped down.
But do you overpush?
Oh, it looks like they want to try it. Rhyme just jiggle peeking ever so slightly. There's a snake bite. Make sure there's no re-swing. Actually going to be claiming that site for free, getting that post plan down as well. And they do have a lot of util, but now you see that stun. The paranoia, there was a flash from Victor just to try and push them back and push them away, including that dart. Already finding all these kills. That's a high ground angle from Fatinho.
This is crazy
now
from
FNS. He's full blind, right into the corner, and he's being swarmed. He's surrounded once more. Lockdown from Hoodie's dropped off. And it is going to be a fight from Giants right in front of the smoke. All the players dropping. It's all down to him. Fatinho with a showstopper, just dodged to the side. They have to swing this one, and the spray down does not work out.
If the lockdown had gone off there, it's another post plan that NRG win. So many of these situations in the second half have come down to one crucial final detail. Yeah. A wallbang post plan, a flank that doesn't quite work out, an artist clutch that wasn't to be. And then finally here, Giants dealing with the lockdown in a decisive manner. Both teams using lockdown there and both getting broken despite the buff. Wow, heartbreak for NRG. Incredible clutch performance from Giants.
They are looking good right now, but NRG just overheating in the final moments, and I think the back-to-back rounds that we just witnessed. Trying to overextend themselves when they get that spike down, but Giants now on the precipice of taking this map. One round will do it.
And they have so many chances.
Again, similar game plan. You can see Cloud just happy to give them all this space. Partly because Giants have been so good with this retake. There hasn't been that pull from NRG where they just try and get them to use a lot of utility to make it a bit easier for them. But again, it's a contact call by FNS. Works his way into the back. That's a stun in a common position. Cloud with a Hunter's Fury. And he finds FNS at the back of the site. And this post plant now is going to get a little bit more tricky.
Far more difficult. And does it bait NRG into going over aggressive? They've fallen into that trap a couple of times.
Crashes does have his own Hunter Fury to try and play the post plant with from a far back position. It looks like they are relying on that one.
Hoodie has also been a menace coming through this breakable door, and that's what Ardis has to worry about.
Fully lined up, so risky. It's an alarm bot just holding the angle, and still look at this. Giants are just making their way onto the side. Hoodie was being caught, some not dealt with, but Fatino rolls forwards. A tap at the spike is going to force out the Hunter's Fury. Enough players alive, the time has been bought, time has been found. Victor knows it's just one there. Wide swing will do it. Don't need to overthink it. He finds his kill.
But also loses the rifle. So Bren, that is going to be an extremely expensive round for NRG to win. They get it, but at what cost? Thankfully, Giants' economy is not in a great place either, so this next round is going to be so weird. Overall, though, I think what makes the difference there are two crucial players, Som and Ardis. Som wins the duel against Rhyme coming through the smoke, and Ardis just hard-swung the breakable door and deleted Hoodie, who was playing on the other side of things. And so with those two picks, they shut off two of the avenues for the retake. Okay, the economy actually not that bad from NRG. They've managed to put together a decent buy. 3 light armors, and Giants have decided not to force. So not as strange as I thought for this round 22. As long as NRG can convert the anti-eco, they've got a chance.
As long as they don't slip up, but it's these rounds that can sometimes be the hardest. Giants with the weaker buy. Not really taking a gamble in terms of where they're stacking the players, but there are. You can see Cloud just holding a bit of a one and done.
Yeah, that's an interesting part. Nobody has held tree on the defense this entire time. And now, as part of their gamble on the eco, Cloud's just deciding to pick a much more aggressive position with a Guardian. It's the same kind of...
Oh my goodness! Oh! You've got to be kidding me!
What a play!
What a read from Cloud! And just anticipating that one, already 2 players falling. This is crumbling. The plan's still going to go down, no aftershock, but the shock dart's a bit delayed. Still with the rifles. NRG could somehow scramble this one back, and they're going for an aggressive fight. That was a paranoia. And Crash is pushing through the smoke, but he's played here before. It should be expected. The widest swing from Cloud is going to be disrupted. A satchel, just in case it's a close-up position, and the wall still pushing back Giants. A bit of a jiggle with the movement, and still 2 players remain. A rifle in his hands, but Som does a lot to contain. And a dart doing its work.
Woo, that's a squeaky one though, isn't it, Bren? That is a squeaky one. NRG, the rifle advantage coming out incredibly important there, but Cloud had done everything he could for them. And that's, like we said, the first time someone's played there. And that's a on-the-fly ante against Victor always using his dog from the same position.
Yeah.
That's just the kind of thing that the players get a read on and decide, hey, I'm just going to go for it here. Let's see if they fall into it.
That's so smart.
Routines getting punished. This one, though, massively important round. If NRG win this, Giants are going to have a shoddy force buy for round 24. And we will very likely be going OT. So the whole map could come down to this.
It's one singular round. The C site has been given up relatively free.
Massive ults.
Big ults online. Ardis just getting his lockdown online off of that orb.
And if Giants allow them to get the site, as they have been doing, these are crazy good post-plant ults.
Yeah. Shock darts are going to be clearing an ammo swarm as well. Now lockdown being used. Key looks like he wanted to play for an aggressive Rolling Thunder to try and push them back, but no one would have been there, so yeah, just opting to back away.
He's used his aftershock there. I'm not sure whether he's trying to break the lockdown. Obviously, it doesn't work anymore.
Now the Rolling Thunder, though. It's a fast play to try and push them back. And this time Viper's pit dropped down, fully stunned though. Son was holding a close angle, and this could get more than scrappy. This could get absolutely dangerous. Spamming into it one after the other. FNS though claiming more than one kill, but he's the last man standing. A 1v2. Slows it down ever so slightly. The two players swarming the site, the spike spotted on the ground, and the drone to re-clear through.
This should be it for Giants. 20 seconds, and FNS has to get the plant down.
How does he know what his players are? He's got nothing to work off of, really.
Double blast packs as well for Fatinho. How does he possibly get a plant?
Doesn't know where he is. 12 seconds remaining.
The utility alone should deny this.
And there we go. Moving forwards, one blast pack used.
He's missed it!
He's missed it. He gets the plant down in the 1v2 here. The pit. It's going to start fading. Moves away, it's happened to Spike. FNS knows they're not there. The decay is fading. They need to take this fight, and they take it well. But FNS comes up once more. Red Bull clutch, 4 kills for him, the IGL. What a difference maker.
Unbelievable round from FNS. I mean, what a fumble though from Fatinho. Mishearing the audio cue.
Yeah.
The crowd was going nuts in here, Brent. They could feel and anticipate the upset happening in that moment, and the crowd was crazy loud. It might not be coming through for you at home, but I would imagine Fatinho could not hear where the plant was going there because of the excitement,
Just the roar
of the crowd expecting him to win
crowd.
it.
Yeah.
And now Giants have put together a bit of a wrecked buy. They still have 3 big rifles though. Can NRG push themselves across the line and recover their 4-8 deficit at the half?
Bring this to OT would be quite spectacular.
This was 12-8 in favor of Giants. They had 4 major chances to win this map.
Now one final hurdle for NRG to try and get it to OT. Util was used more than early just to clear out through C, and the players are taking up positions now over towards A. Drone used in the mid round there by Cloud, so he did tag one of the players, spots him out, and it causes NRG just to back away, just to pivot a little bit now.
And last time Cloud got a tag onto FNS in this exact same spot, it wasn't a re-hit. So FNS is mixing things up here. Same kind of opening to the round, but with 40 seconds, they're going to end shoving things into Rhyme.
Just trying to anchor it. Util still online for them. But now there's going to be that Trailblazer. Paranoia as a response just to try and push them back. Not give them any information. The shock darts could be quite good, including the flash. Not enough to clear these nano swarms, but the players are there from Giant up close and personal. FNS delivers once more.
Just taking matters into his own hands, isn't he? 13 seconds left. Is there any potential to deny? No, Fatinho's run out of utility.
Oh, the spam again! The spam angles from Cloud with the Guardian, an absolute menace. And he has brought it to that 3v3. Still doable for Giants.
The Giants' retakes have been good. They've been so solid. Recon dart online for Cloud as well. He gears it up, it's a close one.
Dart's going to be dealt with. Position Snow to spam through. Still Victor claims one. So I'm going to reposition Fatinho. He's got the showstopper. He's dealt with. Shut down! Som, an absolute menace. Fully stunned up, but he's brought them back all the way to OT.
W streamer, W headshots, unbelievable play by Som. We saw Som do almost the exact same thing against Koi on Haven. Stunned up completely, hitting headshots on players. Oh my God, what a clutch, what a play.
It's just insanity to be able to pull that off.
And that's done physical cardiovascular damage to Pipson.
Oh yeah.
He might never recover.
Leaning back from that one.
Oh my word, we're going to OT on Lotus. How have NRG pulled that one back? FNS with some unbelievable plays towards the end. And Som to get direct headshots on Fatinho's ult and Rhyme.
It should have ended right there. There and then, but pulled out a miracle is what it seems like. And now we see side swapping round again. So Giant's going to be on that attack side for our first portion of OT. They took a ton of damage in the process here. The Trailblazer being used to get them a bit of info with the door rotating as well. Let's see how this hold goes. Victor, that's a flash, but Fatinho was playing anti, punishes the swing.
Victor's flashes have been rough. Giants so ready for them.
So what is the play now for NRG? Do they want to try and fight this before the spike goes down? There are players in position, but Not quite with the utility. Crashies does have the dart. No one was watching this angle. FNS, bit of a risk. Drops down. No one clears the corner. And it's all up to Som. Find the operator in this round. No armor to his name. He's to try and find this rifle, but he knows Hoodie's there, and that's a jump peek. So aware by Hoodie. So aware. Picks up the rifle. Base the re-swing, and Giants once more are 1 round away from taking this map.
And you can see just a massive difference in terms of both teams' competency on defense. NRG unable to hold on to their utility. They use it really early. And when they fight the plant going down, it's so uncoordinated and messy. Giants just look much cleaner in their defensive rounds, and we'll get to see if they can pull another one out, whether that be a retake or a plant denial, to push themselves to this first upset map win against NRG.
Would be a massive beginning for them, and they...
Oh, the round timer.
Yeah, take a breather.
Yeah.
Take a breather.
A crazy moment of tension here, as NRG are asked to do the impossible again. They denied 4 map points to take things to overtime, and now they're being asked to do it again in round 26. Fatinho, by the way, is sat at 32 kills, which might not sound that impressive when he was at 20 at the half, but that still means he's been putting up basically a kill per round on their defense side.
Which is just insanity.
That's nasty good.
It's insanity, isn't it? That is so, so good.
At the moment, almost no one can shut him down. Some found it, though. Now he has to do so much more. The post plants have got to be immaculate from NRG. They can't rely on any big ultimates. You know, that's one of the things that they were really using towards the that run from round 20 onwards.
Yeah, it was just chaining of the ultimates, really, just using them.
Can't do that in OT.
Incredibly well.
Not unless someone has a serious pop-off round.
So how does this begin? Giants. A lot of util being used to push back. Again, NRG, who were just exploring towards A main, but it's a bit of a change in pace, actually. 2 players deep in B main from Giants. Holding a bit of a crossfire, one behind the box. Sometimes you do see NRG clear this with a flash, just the sky flash for information, but they are set up to try and pincer this. Paranoia still online for Rhyme, and there we go. As soon as they hear that util being used, it's ever so slightly mistimed though, and Rhyme still wants to take the fight. FNS, I mean, forced to Whiting, I think, out of the way of the utility. He goes down.
Major miscommunication though, because FNS wasn't backed up by anybody, and now they're just straight up 4v5 on the side of the map the Giants have reinforced.
Yep.
This does not look good for NRG.
Not good at all, really, for them. Rhyme still at the back of the side, just trying to take the fights.
No
Tom
way.
just walking his way in. But just the duel's being taken. Fatinho, though, Nuki backing him up, and now it's down to Ardis. The 1v3, 1 round away. Can he do the impossible? Can he bring it back? The high-low set up, a bit of spam with the Phantom. There's no punish. He's found the first one, but there's still so much to do. Baiting the angle once more, and it's found the fight. Nuki takes it.
And NRG really pushed them, but Giants say, we got to win in OT? All right, fine. Have it your way. What an upset result in the first map there. Fantastic performance from Giants. Looking great on their defense, putting together some masterful rounds on the attack as well. And in the battle of the IGLs, veteran versus rookie, it is rookie Rhyme that lands the first blow.
What a absolutely insane first map here. We spoke at the beginning of the risks of NRG picking Lotus into Giants, but you don't know what they're going to be running. You don't know how good they are on that map. The gamble, the risk, it just did not pay off this time. It was close, but Giants coming up huge in the OT.
Yeah, I think there were so many incredible moments all over the place. NRG did a great job at even pulling it back to OT, but I think the player of this match just has to be Fatinho. Yeah. He was insane on their attack side. And then, even when it came to defense, he was getting 2 almost every time, either on the retake or when he's site anchoring. And it was such an effort for NRG to even trade it.
Complete credit to Giants as well. I mean, they were so well versed in terms of how they wanted to play this map. The retakes on A, so clean. The stuns, the nades, double satchel plays all coming together. It took some ridiculous clutches, honestly, from NRG to hold a candle to it.
Just look at the reactions from Pimson there. I mean, both of the coaches, all of the players. Yeah, an absurd play by Som. He's been playing incredibly. I feel like if you want to talk about players that are turning up to LAN for their first time, Som, obviously, amazing game to start things off. But Fatinho now is stepping up. Rhyme consistently performing in all of these games so far that Giants have had to play. It's just been spectacular to watch. The players that are required to step up are getting there every time. It's so good. And this is setting us up for a delightful series because we've seen both of these teams play on the next two maps. We know to some degree what to expect. They'll have been able to look at the VODs and try to anti-strat, but that massive gamble of Lotus now goes in Giants' direction. Putting the pressure on NRG hardcore.
Yeah, I mean, for the next map to come up as Haven as well, this is a map that, you know, you closely associate with a bit of a playground for IGLs. We've already seen an amazing battle between Rhyme and FNS, and now you get to see it on Haven. Like you said, map we've already seen of these two guys as well, so yeah, that is going to be absolutely incredible. What a pleasure. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go to a short break, and on the other side of things, map number 2 will be kicking off in just a moment.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.